Hi guys, I'm Greg Varner. I'm the Capstone Coordinator, and I'd like to take about 10 minutes or so just to help you understand what this course is and how it fits into the experience of your senior year. The Capstone experience was as part of a legacy, genuinely, that has happened for years and years at the high school. It used to be senior thesis, then became Capstone, and sort of floated without a home. And several years ago, the administration decided it really was such an important course for you that they wanted to establish it as a course. And so we've been working over the past several years to develop the Capstone course so that it genuinely is an experience that allows you to explore something that matters a lot to you. Now, after about 4 years of doing the Capstone course in the traditional format, we've started exploring this idea of some Capstone pathways. There are certainly things that you do as students that meet the expectations of Capstone that could be justified as Capstone pathways. So let me start by talking for a minute about that. Traditionally, the Capstone experience was a course where you find a topic and you work through a series of studies. We've now broken that down. So if you take a look at what's on the screen, you'll see that every Capstone experience involves formal research, experiential learning, and a presentation. All of these give you the skills that you'll be able to use when you move into college and into other contexts. As a matter of fact, a student came back after one of the first years that we had the Capstone as a course, and he said, everything we did in Capstone has helped make my college experience easier. So it's a good investment for you, in addition to being a graduation requirement for the school. As you look at the screen, you'll see that there are 3 general categories. The first is what's called pedagogical studies. Pedagogical means academic. It's school-based studies. It's studies that happen in the context of your school. And this happens in one of 2 ways. The most common for most of you is going to be the general studies course. It's the traditional Capstone course. This course is designed in a very structured, what's called scaffolded way, which means that your teachers will lead you through all of the steps. They'll teach you the things you need to do. And the most common comment I get from students in that course is, if you just do those steps, it actually becomes pretty easy to process, and you will learn a lot. So again, you're picking a topic that you like and you're studying it in that context. Now, we've expanded. Another pathway is what's called specified studies. You need permission to take this course, but this is the kind of course where, if, for example, you're part of the IB diploma program, or you're part of science research, honor science research, this is a course that's designed where you're studying in the context of a course and you're developing research and projects that support the Capstone experience expectation, and then and so they're certified as pathways for that. And some of you will be taking that. These all are in place currently. Now, practical studies means that you're doing some type of a study that involves much more of a hands-on experience. Now, if you're part of the career education situation, career education studies, if you're in Fort Hays, you're at the downtown Columbus High School, you're in the zoo school, you're doing something like that, you're automatically going to be enrolled in this course, which means you'll be using what you're doing there as your Capstone pathway, your Capstone experience. We're adding this year direct studies. We're bringing back a course that was designed by Melissa Hasbrook years ago that's called the Odyssey Project, which is really a difficult in some ways course, because you've got to really be driven. You pick a topic, you know something you want to study, and you're going to be out doing direct studies. You're going to get out into the community and study something that matters to you. At the bottom of the screen are the curated studies. This is a study that a kid says, look, the pedagogical studies is not what really fits. The practical studies doesn't really fit. I want to do something unique here. This is going to be rare. This has to be approved by exam time of December for the following year. But sometimes you've got a situation, you're studying abroad for a semester and you want to use that as your Capstone experience. So if you think that you're doing something that should be considered a curated study, get in touch with me and we'll talk about that. If we take a look at how the course goes together, again, I'm going to reiterate this a couple of times. Every course, regardless of your pathway, involves this idea of scholarly learning, some type of formal research. It involves experiential learning, some learning that you designed and you devise. You recognize, if I go out into the community and do this, I can learn more about this topic. Or once you've done your scholarly research, you've got a question and you want to pursue that a little bit. And every presentation involves every Capstone experience involves teaching what you've learned. As a matter of fact, this whole course is designed to be about learning and teaching. You've picked a topic, you've picked something that interests you, you're learning as much as you can about it, and then you're going to teach it. Let's break that down just a little bit. The first step of that learning is what's called scholarly learning. This is formal research. In the traditional course, you'll be using academic journals, studying what the existing conversation is about your topic, and you'll be using that information to inform your next steps. If you're in the downtown Columbus High School, or you're in the automotive program at Fort Hays, you'll be using what you're learning in the context of your classroom as your scholarly learning, and then you will apply that in the next step, which is experiential learning. So again, if I'm in the automotive program and I'm studying and I'm learning from my instructors and I'm learning from my textbooks and I'm learning from other outside experiences, when I get myself into the garage and I start applying what I've learned, that's experiential learning. When you think experiential, think you're getting your hands into it. You now are driving this. Let me say a couple of quick things about this. You sometimes will see people that are doing a capstone project and they said, I did a survey. Well, a survey is not really experiential learning. You might use a survey to inform something you're doing, but a survey in and of itself is it's kind of the cheap way out. Like it's really not getting into real study. Or you'll see people that are doing things like a fundraiser, or they're doing a clothing drive or a food drive. And those certainly are commendable things. But the question you have to be able to answer with this second component is, how is it research? And putting a box in the hall for people to put coats in is not research, unless you see some vision for how it is, in which case it's up to you to defend that. So we work through scholarly learning. We find out what the existing conversation is. We work through experiential learning. We put our hands into the cookie jar, for example, and try and understand more about our topic. And then the challenge is to teach it. And what you'll find is when you've got to do a 6-minute to 8-minute TED Talk teaching what you've experienced, it puts some pressure on to really have some substance. This can't just be a wing it. And I know you've talked to people who said, I waited to the last minute. I didn't even know what I was doing. But the reality is the kids who feel most successful are the ones that invest in those first two components. So when it comes time to teach, you've had a lot of experience and you will find that you know a lot about your project. Now, the final component is what's called the process portfolio. In whatever study you're doing, there are different pathways to this, but your teachers will be assessing how you're working all along the way. So if, for example, you're supposed to have your topic written down for class on Thursday and you commit and you have it, you get credit for that. If you're supposed to have your essential question written by next Tuesday and you have it, you get credit for that. You will find that all of this stuff is that really great executive functioning, accountability stuff that many of us struggle with, that when someone else just says, I'm just going to hold you accountable, that it actually becomes more purposeful for you. You will see in the course that from day one, you'll know exactly what's supposed to happen. You're seeing on the screen right now kind of an example of the way that the syllabus is laid out in these separate units. Now, again, depending upon which pathway you're following, you'll see different expectations. But again, especially in the general traditional studies course, the traditional capstone course, it's very clear what's supposed to happen. And you'll also see as you look at the screen that there are days that say things like reading day or writing day or academic day. So what we've done is design the course so you get instruction, you get information, you get guidelines, and then you get space to work on those things right in the course. The wisest kids will use this time really well and be able to have their time outside of class for their other academic investments. The way the course works is because it's a pass-fail course, you have to earn at least a 3 in those first 3 components. So whatever your scholarly learning is, you got to get a 3 or a 4. You can get up to a 4. Whatever your experiential learning is, a 3 or a 4. Whatever your presentation happens to include, a 3 or a 4. In the process, you have to get at least a 2. If you get less than those things, and it's not unusual to do that, something wasn't quite as complete as it needed to be for your first study, so the teacher will give it back to you. You'll get guidelines and you'll keep working on it. So that's absolutely a very organic process. That's what learning is. I didn't quite get it. I don't understand. I have to learn more. I have to invest more. But the goal is across the course of the semester that you'll get a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 2, and that will move you into a place of getting a passing grade for the course. So as you get ready for the semester, be thinking about what it is you want to study. Be thinking about something that matters to you. I would not turn to someone else. I would not turn to a parent and say, what should I study? I would not turn to someone who's done it before and say, what should my topic be? Because only you know that. But I would pick something that you really want to know more about, because you're given this opportunity this semester to study something in depth. So your instructors will give you much more information in the class, but this is a nice overview of how the course works, a nice overview of what the goals of the course are, and the fact that whatever your pathway is, you're going to see these consistent components happening across all pathways. So I wish you the best year, and if you ever have any questions, come and talk to me. Again, I'm Greg Varner, and I'm your Capstone Coordinator.